You're about to witness the last best 49ers show ever. What's up? Welcome to a very special edition of the Best 49ers Show. That's the host, Ryan G. Hensley. I'm another host, Grant Cohn. And if you haven't heard, Ryan, who's just got his master's, is also is just got hired as the head varsity basketball coach of a high school just north of Sacramento. So he's going to be taking a step back from regularly streaming and going to be basically, if you've seen Coach Carter, that's going to be Ryan Hensley. So I just want to say congrats to Ryan. It's been wonderful. We've been doing this for years, and we'll still do shows here and there, but this is the last regular Best 49ers show. So this is a rare opportunity for you guys to watch. I hope you enjoy it. Ryan, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, man. First, I want to thank you too, because talking 49ers has always been a passion of mine. You know, I've been doing it since I started writing for Bleacher Report a long time ago. The Niners will always be a passion of mine, but allowing me to come on your platform and talk about the 49ers for I think it's the last 4.5 years has been fantastic, man. And I really appreciate that. I don't have my master's. I'm working on my master's. I got my bachelor's. But I'm looking forward to coaching these kids. They've won 12 games over the last 3 years. We're going to change that and win at least more than that this year. So I'm looking forward to it. And coaching is probably my top passion before the Niners. So that's why I'm doing it. But we'll still do shows.
I want to see them picking up full court, and I want 8 passes minimum per possession. That's what I want. And I want to see the triangle offense. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk football.
All right.
The Niners lost in Houston. I'm still in Houston. It was embarrassing. Houston's not good. They were 2-4 coming into the game. Their defense is really good, but man, their offense, like Braxton Berrios was going off on the Niners, and they had multiple double-digit play drives. Only scored 15 points, and I think it's easy to point to, well, they were playing their backup quarterback, Mac Jones. Do you think Brock Purdy wins that game, and do you think he comes back this week? Is he going to be the difference the Niners need as so many guys have gone down?
What's that guy's name? Adam? What's the guy that gives all the scoops? I can't remember his name right now. I don't know why. Schefter. So Schefter was talking about Brock could be back. Like, he was announcing who will be back, and then there was a category of who could be back. So Brock wasn't announced in that will be back category. So it's still unknown at this point whether it's going to be Brock or not. I would hope so, man. He's been gone for a while. So you would think he'd be ready or close to it. So will he be back? My guess is yes. I'm about 65% sure Brock Purdy will be back. That's my guess. And it's really based on nothing. It's just been forever. And I think he's got to be close. What do you think, though, about will he be back?
Well, it's 2 questions, right? Will he be back, and will he be the difference the Niners need? I think there's always 2 agendas. I think the Niners want him back, and they're probably thinking, we're paying you a lot of money. You don't need to be 100% healthy to get out there. Like, you just need to be able to protect yourself and play. So that's probably the Niners' perspective. They've been having him practice. He came out to Houston. It seems like they're sort of nudging him closer to the practice field. But then there's Brock Purdy's agenda or side of the story. Like, he already let the Niners nudge him back once. And while he could protect himself, he wasn't good. He couldn't scramble. He couldn't throw accurately. And he got hurt again, made it worse. So it seems to me that this is still up to Brock Purdy. And the Niners can sort of send signals to the public that he's improving and getting close. But ultimately, he has to make the decision. And I don't think it's based on whether he can, up to him, whether he can protect himself. I think he wants to go out there and look like himself. Because if he's 70% Brock, we've seen what it looks like. It's not better than Mac. It's not good. Yeah. So he needs to feel confident that he can go out there and be dazzling the way that he used to be. The guy who can spin away from pressure and then extend plays and throw accurate passes down the field. We didn't see any of that against Jacksonville.
All right, well, let's make the assumption. Let's talk about it with the assumption that Brock Purdy is 100% healthy and going to play this week. Will he be the difference maker that the 49ers need? You want to go first, and what do you think?
You go first.
So here's my issue. I don't think Mac is the problem. When we had the 4-man front on Wednesday, I said the 49ers are going to lose this game. And I think a lot of people are going to be calling for Brock Purdy and kind of putting this game on Mac. When it was predictable to me. I saw this coming. I don't think Mac Jones is the problem. I think there's things that Brock Purdy does well, which is scramble, keep the play going with his legs, that Mac Jones really doesn't do. But there's things that Mac Jones does that Brock Purdy doesn't do. Like his arm talent and his accuracy is better than Brock Purdy's, in my opinion. That's what I see. So bringing a Brock Purdy in, I don't see it as the difference maker. And here's why. The 49ers are 21st in the red zone. They're number 1 in the NFL in the injury list. They are 32nd, dead last in yards per carry. They have an awful offensive line. I don't think just putting Brock Purdy in is going to be the solution.
No, I really feel like you could put any quarterback in this situation right now, and it would look pretty rough at best. I mean, and this is like a recipe for injury right now. The question is who would elevate the offense more given how bad the offensive line is and how banged up the skill position players are and how non-existent the run game is. Like, what quarterback survives in that situation? And so we've seen Brock and we've seen Mac in both of them. And Mac's won games, but it hasn't been pretty. I mean, they're still averaging like 19 points per game. So the way Mac tries to get around this awful pass protection is by throwing it quickly. So he has to throw with anticipation to wide receivers who aren't getting open quickly. I mean, it's not going to look great. And then Brock's solution is to hold the ball longer and scramble around and sort of let guys get open down the field, which is great. But for him, it's leading to injuries. So one way or another, it's just not an ideal situation. And I don't see how a quarterback – I don't even think Lamar Jackson would fix this. I think they have like real systemic issues that they've had for a long time. And maybe all these injuries are sort of bringing it to the forefront. But this is stuff that they've been sort of sweeping under the rug for years.
Yeah, I agree. And if you look at Brock Purdy's numbers, when he throws the ball quickly, gets it out early, really good. So running around, scrambling, extending plays, what that's done is Brock Purdy has 20 turnovers over the last 17 games. So like that, I don't see this as a solution. They also, Brock Purdy's red zone numbers are way worse than Mac Jones. And they're already struggling in the red zone. So to me, it doesn't matter. Brock Purdy, Mac Jones is going to look different, but the results are going to be the same to me. So I don't see Brock Purdy as the savior here.
Yeah, and I think the story isn't which quarterback is going to lead the Niners to the Super Bowl, because neither one is going to lead the Niners to the Super Bowl this year. The issue is the Niners can't really set up either player for success. I mean, just like what you said with the run game, last in yards per carry. That's not what this system is built around. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to need both quarterbacks. Brock will come back. I think both of these guys will play about eight games this year.
Yeah, I mean, what if you're last in yards per carry? What is your future? Like, what are you going to win a Super Bowl when you're last in yards per carry under Kyle Shanahan? At that, this whole offense is based off the run play action, and you're 32nd, dead last in yards per carry. Thinking that this team's going to win a Super Bowl? That's why, I've been saying it, and people don't like it because they are still 5-3. So it sounds good, like, right, we're 5-3, and the next 5-6 games are pretty easy. They're not tough opponents for the 49ers. So the record could be good. I just don't see them doing much. I think they will get to the playoffs. I think they might struggle against the Seahawks and the Rams next time they meet them. But they have a chance to get into the playoffs as a wild card. But I don't see them doing much beyond that. And I don't think Brock Purdy's going to save the season. We saw what he did last season. He wasn't good last season. I think everyone looks at Brock Purdy as 2023 Brock Purdy when they had a healthy, stacked roster, probably the best roster in the NFL. That's the ceiling for the 49ers and Brock Purdy. When you have a healthy roster that's stacked and younger than they are now with those core players, that's the ceiling. But thinking that Brock Purdy's going to be inserted and do something that Mac Jones isn't, I just don't see it.
I think the Niners have a lot of issues, even though they're 5-3. And I think quarterback is way down the list. They have
Yeah.
two good ones. They don't have a great one. They haven't had a great one since I was in sixth grade, fifth grade. But they
Yeah.
have two good ones. They just can't protect either one, and they have issues on defense too. So why don't we talk about defense? Bryce Huff, Nick Bosa, Yetur Gross-Matos all out. And now, we're talking about should they trade for a pass rusher? Should they bring in Trey Hendrickson or Kayvon Thibodeau and trade a first round pick or a second round pick? And it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to plug holes and you have assets to trade, but they did just spend the 11th pick in the draft on a defensive end. I mean, they literally just did that. And usually defensive ends picked with the 11th pick are somewhat of a threat as a pass rush. And so far, Mykel Williams, he's been really good against the run, and that's great. But he's not really making the impact as a pass rusher that you would expect a first round pick to make, let alone a top 11 pick. How concerned are you about Mykel Williams?
I'm not really. Honestly, this is what I thought when I analyzed the pick. That was my takeaway, right? You look at what he did in college. He never played the role where he's a pass rusher from wide nine. He's never done that. So I never expected him to be that guy. Now he can be. He's super talented physically, and he might. When I say he can be, I'm not saying he will be. I'm saying it's a possibility with his physical talent, but it's going to take some time. Never really expected him to be that guy this year. I think he was more of a plan in complementary with Nick Bosa. But when you take away Nick Bosa, and then now you expect Mykel to kind of fill those shoes, I don't think that's ever realistic. Not this year.
Yeah, but I feel like you can't draft a complimentary pass rusher with the 11th pick. And I think the thought process from the Niners, the way they sold it to themselves and maybe to us, is that okay, he was a complimentary pass rusher at Georgia, but he was playing out of position. He was playing 4-eye. Over here, we're gonna put him in the wide nine, and we're gonna let it pin his ears back. And Chris Kasarik is gonna yell at him, and Nick Bosa is gonna show him hand moves, and he's gonna be a whole different player. And that sort of played out with Bryce Huff, right? Like Bryce Huff went to Philly. It was in a different scheme. It didn't look good. And Salah's like, nah, 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 nah. I know exactly how to use him, and it worked out. It hasn't worked out like that for Mykel Williams. He doesn't look like a great fit as a D end in a wide nine. He looks kind of like a 3-4 outside linebacker. I don't know what his position is. I just know that pressure's on him to step up as a pass rusher because they're not trading for Trey Hendrickson. And if he's the kind of guy that gives you 3 sacks a year, then he wasn't worth the first round pick, especially when you took another defensive lineman in the second round who is very similar and seems to be worth that pick. So that's how I'm
And
feeling about
another
Mykel. A lot of
defensive
pressure.
lineman in the third round, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I see
fourth.
what you're saying, Sporth.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. You want with 11th is a really high draft pick. You want an
Yeah.
impact player, and I think he has made an impact in the run game. But
Yes.
I think when you're assuming that this guy's going to do this in the pros when he didn't do it in college, I think that's risky with an 11th pick. You want to see the guy that you're picking at 11 overall, you want to see that he's actually done what you want him to do. You want to see that he's done that in college. It's a little risky not seeing that in college. That being said, I do think Mykel's a specimen, and it's possible he does develop into something like that, but it's not going to be right away.
My issue is the Niners have a very bad track record of drafting defensive linemen, especially since Kyle Shanahan's been here. Now they drafted Nick Bosa, that was a home run, but everyone else, it seems like they reach for someone who didn't have a lot of sack production in college, and they justify it by saying, "Oh, we have Chris Kasarik. He'll coach him up." I'm thinking Javon Kinlaw. I'm thinking Drake Jackson, and Robert Beal. You can't show me one example of Chris Kasarik turning some run defender into a premium edge rusher. What he does usually is take that failed edge rusher and just move him to defensive tackle on pass rush downs. That's what he does. He did it for Arden Key, did it for Charles Omenihu. He was going to do it for Mykel Williams, but maybe they should stop drafting, major projects on the D line and hoping that Chris Kasarik can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a bigger point, and this might be maybe this isn't the way I want to do my last show, but I'm being real here, man. we might have seen the peak of the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan already. We
Yeah.
might have. And the reason why I say that is just this offensive line needs to be completely revamped. I know I should probably hold off on this, but the core of this team, the George Kittles, the Trent Williams, the Christian McCaffreys, we've seen their best already. They're not getting better. Next year, they're not going to be better. So this team has to it's a rebuild. They're trying to like stretch it out and not enter full rebuild this season. But that's probably what they should have done, because these guys are not going to get better next year. This core of the 49ers. And we're going to talk more about why I'm bothered with Kyle a little bit, but I hate to be a pessimistic on my last show, but that's how I feel right now.
Well, it's not like a full-blown rebuild, but it is like a roster recomposition. And when you say the Niners have already reached their peak, I agree. I mean, their peak, they had this incredible roster with, I believe, 9 players who were voted into the top 100 in the NFL by their peers in 2023. 9. I mean, that was incredible. And they did that because they weren't paying for a quarterback, Brock Purdy, rookie deal. They were spending on everything. And it was a really special roster. Then they paid Purdy. And the idea was they can still win as long as they, fill out the roster with guys on rookie deals. Not guys like Dre Greenlaw and Javarius Ward, but guys like Upton Stout and Mykel Williams. And the idea is if they get 3, 4, 5 guys on rookie deals over the next few years who are balling, then Brock's contract won't matter at all. Like, it'll all even out. And that's just a sound full. I mean, that's what the Eagles are doing, right? They paid Jalen Hurts. They paid a lot of guys on offense, but then they got guys like Jalen Carter on defense who haven't got paid yet. Cooper Jean. So the theory works in practice. It's working for the Rams, but is it working for the Niners? I mean, Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, Upton Stout, Jordan Watkins, Jordan James. I mean, for this to work, these guys all have to be good, and maybe they'll be good at one point. But I'm starting to lose confidence in the Niners' drafting ability. They get these diamonds in the rough, but early in the draft where you're supposed to be finding your core players, they have way too many whiffs.
Yeah, and I think that what's really bothering me about it is it's not just that they're trying to find these players to pop in and fill in around the core, the captains of this team, but they're going to need to replace the captains of this team. Like Christian McCaffrey is not going to be better next year. Trent Williams, I don't know if he's playing next year, but he's not going to be better next year. I doubt George Kittle will be. Like all of these pieces that they had in place, it was kind of like, to me, it's like this year or nothing. You either have to fill in around those guys and go after it this year, or it's just going to get worse. And now not only do you have to find those pieces, you got to find the pieces to replace those guys. And that's even an even harder task. So I feel like this team right now this year, I've been saying it. And again, I don't like to be negative. I'm a pretty positive person all around. But when it comes to the Niners, I just feel like we're delaying the inevitable, which is a rebuild, is what this team needs. And it starts at the foundation. And we'll get in to that in a second.
I just think, when we're talking about this rebuild, though, it hinges on the draft. And you go back and look at their drafts from the last 6 years. I mean, 2020 to now, like, who's the best player they drafted from 2020 to now? Brandon Ayuk, maybe, but he's out. Diamondo Lenore, maybe. McKivitz, Jennings. I mean, those guys are stocked down. D. Winters, Jair Brown. I mean, Ricky Pearsall looked good for 3 games until he got hurt and he hasn't played. Bernardo Green has flashes. Dominic Pooney's been not good this year. Malik Mustafa, we'll see. He has a chance. Garendo, no. Mykel, I mean, like, that's a lot of mid, man, for the last 6 drafts.
Yeah.
Brock, and he's hurt.
And then look at Nick Bosa, man, coming off his 3rd ACL. What's he going to look like when he comes back? It's just, it's not trending in the right direction to me. It feels like we're 5-3. It feels like we're 3-5 to me right now.
It just seems like if they're going to actually win with Brock Purdy making this money, they need someone better making the draft picks. I don't know what their process is, which ones Kyle makes, which ones John Lynch makes, but their batting average is too low. It's not going to work. You can't. And what was crazy is that they get this 11th pick. They had this miserable year at the owners' meetings. Jed's like, if we're gonna be bad, I'd kind of rather be really bad because it gives you an opportunity to draft someone really special, and you draft a run defender. I mean, ugh, that's rough. You kind of missed on an opportunity there.
I wanted the
Unless he
49ers.
improves a lot.
Who's the left tackle? I can't remember his name. It's a basic name on the Chiefs that they got this year.
Jalen Moore.
No, the one they drafted this year.
Oh, the guy that you loved from
Yeah, I was
Ohio
trying to.
State, Josh
I forget his
Simmons.
name. Yeah, so Josh Simmons, right? Is that
Yeah,
what you said? Yeah,
yeah, Josh Simmons.
that's why I wanted them to trade back and get that guy. That's who I felt like they should have gotten. The Chiefs did, and it looks like it was a smart play. They traded back. They could have got picked up another draft pick. I just always go back to the same thing, and we'll talk about it with Kyle. But like, they're trying to. My friend on Twitter, I forget his name. Sorry, buddy, I forgot your name. He read my mind because I was thinking the same thing. It's like you're trying to remodel the kitchen on a bad foundation. Like that's where this team is at to me. Constantly trying to plug holes, like fix the windows, get some new countertops, paint it, but you're sitting on a rocky foundation in this offensive line. Until they address that, it's hard for me to see them. Nothing else really matters to me, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and to me, our next topics we're going to get into in a second is like the trade deadline. And I mean, obviously, after this loss, you're thinking like, maybe don't. But what's crazy is like, okay, we want to rebuild. You need your assets. So what? So you can waste the next first round pick on some guy who should have been a third round pick. Like this team's track record is awful at just getting the best player available. They reach for need every single year. They try to get a guy who fits their scheme, and they end up with someone like Nick Martin in round 3 who can't sniff the field. How many third round picks have they just thrown away on guys who weren't even NFL players? I don't know. They got to figure this out.
And I think it's tough because they've done a lot of good things. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They've done a lot of good things. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. They haven't won one, but they've been to 2. They won multiple NFC West championships. But they just have that one fatal flaw that, to me, is always going to hold them back, and that has to do with drafting philosophy, how they look at things. So, yeah, I'm not bought in right now.
Here are the Niners' third round picks from the last 6 drafts: Nick Martin, Upton Stout, Dominic Pooney, Jair Brown, Jake Moody, Cam Latu, Ty Davis Price, Danny Gray, Trey Sermon, Ambry Thomas. Those are the third round picks in the last 5 drafts. It's not good enough.
Third is a rough one.
It's not good enough. You got Fred Warner there, but that was a long time ago. All right. They're 5-3. It's not the time to throw in the towel. The schedule's still favorable. They can still win 10, 11 games. But that was rough against the Texans. They didn't do anything well. Their best play was a kick return by Brian Robinson. They didn't run the ball well. They didn't pass the ball well. They didn't stop the run. They couldn't cover. They couldn't get past. I mean, the technical term is they sucked against the Texans. And this could be the beginning of a stretch of bad football. I don't know. Bryce Huff's not coming back this week, it doesn't seem like. Nick Bosa's not coming back at all. So with that in mind, they got one more week to decide what to do. Should the Niners be buyers or sellers at the deadline?
The only thing I'm buying is something that's going to make this team good for the future. I'm not buying anything that's a 1-year rental, or that's giving away a ton of draft capital for the future. It's all about the future for me on this team. To me, the Niners need to rebuild. That's how I look at them. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I think it'll hold true. I think the Niners will make the playoffs, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Next year, the core is going to get older. Like, they have to rebuild. That means they have to save draft capital. And I know you're probably thinking, well, they can't draft well. And I hear you, right? So if they're going to make a trade and be buyers in this market, go get somebody that's proven, that is affordable, that you can have for the future. And that's it. If it's not that, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's too bad. I feel like the Niners found their formula with Kyle Shanahan, but they lost it because, to me, have some self-awareness. You are able to get incredible production out of no-name quarterbacks every time.
Yeah.
And you're not that good at drafting. So if you pay that quarterback, it puts a premium on drafting. If you don't, you can trade picks for players like Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams. That's how you put together that super team. You know, like that's what you should be doing. Trading a second and a third and a fourth for some player that the Panthers don't know what to do with, or not. You know what I mean? Like something like that. That's where you're at your best. But you can't do that this year because you can't afford to pay any more veterans. Like you really do need guys on rookie deals, and
And what
that's a
does that mean?
crapshoot.
What does
That's a
that mean?
crapshoot. So okay, yeah, I wouldn't trade the first round pick. You can't trade
Yeah.
that for a guy who's expensive. I would trade Jawan Jennings. I think the team would be better off without him. He's like this year's Debo. He's got to go.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
There-
They keep trying to
there's
get him involved to the detriment of the team. Anytime they ask him to block at the point of attack or catch a pass, it's like good luck. So I was
George Kittle, Fred Warner. To me, though, that's the heartbeat of this team. Even though Fred's hurt, I still believe in he'll come back and he'll be fine. That's the heart of this team. And then whoever's good and on a affordable contract or on a rookie contract, keep those guys. But they got to be thinking for the future. So you can't give up anything that's going to sacrifice your future. If you're giving away a high draft pick for a guy that's on a 1-year rental that's going to need a new contract after the season, I'm cool on that. I don't want that. But if you're trading for
That
a
being said,
CMC, go ahead.
That being said, if they could get like an offensive lineman who could be here for a while, I'd be in favor of that.
I would. I just don't think it's likely in the middle of the
Because
season.
they can't draft offensive linemen.
I agree, and that's probably how they're going to replace Trent whenever that day comes, is through free agency. So
Trade.
yeah, it's just middle of the season. Who's one who's going to give up an offensive line, and how quickly can they learn Kyle's complex scheme? Right, you'd have to be coming from a team that runs something similar to just be able to insert him right away.
I have something radical to propose. As long as we're talking about selling, and I'm not trying to wave the white flag, I would like to improve the team here and there if you could without trading away high draft picks. But if you're trying to trade someone whose value is at its highest now and won't ever be as high again, and you're making tough decisions, I would trade Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
No offense to Christian, but this is it, man. He's not going to have any. He's not going to have more trade value in the offseason. You're giving him 30 touches a game. Some team might feel like they could give him a little more space and that he could put him over the top this year. The Niners aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. So what's the point? I would trade Christian McCaffrey.
I would be open to, like I said, I'd be open to trading anybody. I know that's too far for some people, right? Like I'd trade Trent Williams. As crazy as that sounds, because they don't have anything behind him, I would do it. To me, it's about the future with this team. If this team ever gets to the level of 2023, in my opinion, it's going to be 3 or 4 years from now if Kyle's still coaching at that point, because some of their draft picks have finally developed and are able to replace the core of this team. Kyle Juszczyk's not going to be here. Trent Williams won't be here. CMC won't be here when they finally get back to where they need to be. And I just don't see it happening this year, next year. And I don't want to go all in on this season. What I want to do, I don't want to give up on this season. I want to go all in on these young guys and their development and see what they can do.
You know who has the most trade value in the organization?
Fred, probably, if he was healthy.
Nah, he's not though. Like right today. Today,
Mac?
Nah, I can think of someone with more trade value than Mac.
All right, who?
Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'm not saying they would, but if you really want like 2 firsts and 2 seconds and like an offensive line and maybe a team that doesn't have 800 injuries every year, it'd be a thought. But I don't know if Niner fans are ready for that.
They're not. And Kyle Shanahan,
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. He's a good coach.
He's a good coach. He's a good coordinator. He's a better coordinator than he is a coach.
He got schooled yesterday, man. That was bad.
Yeah, I think Jed York is going to – I think Kyle's going to be coaching for a long time. And I think 49er fans, you need to brace yourself for a 3 years from now, they might get back to where they were. But that's going to be if they can find a replacement for Trent, if they can find a replacement for CMC, if they can find another
draft really well.
Right.
If they can draft better than they have since 2020, since COVID. So Okay, let's talk Kyle before we get to our super chats. Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. He does a lot of things well. He's got Mac Jones playing well. He was working with a lot of backups on offense. The fact that this team is 5-3 is improbable, um, given all the injuries. And I think that when they lose it to the Texans like they did, it's easy to just write it off and say, well, they're playing their backup quarterback and a bunch of backups and they have injuries and you can't really blame Kyle. Like he's doing a great job. But I think when you look beneath the surface, there's a lot more going on with this team right now than just bad luck and injuries. What would you say are some of the other underlying factors leading that are going on with this team?
Well, what have we been screaming in the offseason? All of us, like me, you, fans, like everyone but David Lombardi. What have we been screaming every every offseason before the draft? What is it?
Yeah, offensive line,
Offensive line. Like
offensive line.
you can call me old school, I don't know, but to me, at the end of the day, and I don't use at the end of the day often because I think it's overused. But in this situation, I'm going to use at the end of the day. Football comes to who's bigger, stronger, faster. And the offensive line is the foundation that we were talking about. Until you have that foundation, you're wasting your time remodeling the house, which with all these little skill players and things. You need that foundation. A perfect example, like, what made Trent Williams so good? Maybe the best left tackle of all time. What made him that guy? What would you say it was? What makes Trent Williams so amazing when he was at his prime? What made Trent Williams so great?
Talent, athleticism, greatness.
Big, strong athlete, just
Yeah,
amazing talent, right? Big, strong athlete. But they see that
fourth pick of the draft.
how great Trent Williams is, what makes Trent Williams so great. Yet they don't. I'm not saying you're going to find a Trent Williams at left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. That's not what I'm saying. But that should be the goal. Knowing you're not going to hit that goal, but that should be the goal. The goal shouldn't be like, hey, we got Trent Williams. Now we can get by with the smallest offensive line in the NFL. That's been Kyle Shannon's philosophy. He believes he can get by with these small, fast dudes and run his scheme and get cute with football when at the end of the damn day, it's about beating the man in front of you, being bigger, stronger, faster. And they have avoided that. And that's the fatal flaw with this team.
Yeah, and it's the reason why the quarterbacks keep getting hurt. It's the reason why they can't run the ball. Um, and I think it's interesting too, like Trent Williams, Hall of Famer, top 4 pick. Ben Barch was on a practice squad. Connor Colby, 7th round pick. Jake Brendel was on a practice squad. Matt Hennessy was on a practice squad. Dominic Pooney was a 3rd round pick. That's one of the biggest investments the Niners have ever made in an offensive lineman. And Colt McKivitz was on their practice squad. Like they're just taking guys off of the scrap heap. And, I mean, what should they really expect? It seems like if you value the quarterback position enough to, spend $265 million on it, then you should value it enough to protect it. And, I mean, it's they're culpable for Brock Purdy's injuries. And it's only a matter of time before Matt goes down too.
I mean, and they have spoken about this. This isn't like my opinion that I'm giving. They've spoken about how they look at things, right? They look at weapons are more important to the 49ers, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan. Weapons are more important to them than the offensive line. It boggles the mind. Like short and goal, man. Like you're on the goal line, you can't punch it in because you don't have the offensive line to do it. You're behind, and you need to enter a drop back passing game, but you can't do it because you don't have the offensive line to do it. It's the reason why this team they would have won a Super Bowl had they had a better line. I believe that. I believe that was the difference, right? They went up against teams that more superior in the trenches, and they continue to act like it's not that important because they think they're cute enough, smart enough to work around it when you got to be bigger, stronger, faster. And like you can look at the win. Go ahead.
I mean, weapons are nice. Weapons are important, but I think the Niners have drafted 24 in 9 drafts and 10 offensive linemen. They're not 2.5 times more important than the offensive line. And I think if you have a coach like Kyle Shanahan, who's supposed to be an X's and O genius, the kind of guy who can scheme people open, then really, if you had a good offensive line and gave your quarterback time, someone should always be open because you drew up the freaking play. And I'm not saying don't draft weapons, but it doesn't have to be in round 1 and round 2 every other year. Like, you should be able to find these guys in round 3, 4, 5. But when you do try to draft a guy in round 4, it's Jordan Watkins and it doesn't work out, or Jordan James and it doesn't work out. So, I mean, you've been so dependent on Christian McCaffrey for 3 seasons, and before that it was Debo. Like, I don't know. I know Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, but sometimes I wonder if it's a little overstated. Like, where was the creativity yesterday? How come I mean, you look at Andy Reid, he puts such an emphasis on the offensive line. And then he'll trot out like tight ends you've never freaking heard of and call plays for guys that you would never consider, and they get open. I'm just saying.
Kyle needs to be obsessed with building the best offensive line he can, and he's not going to be. So what needs to happen is Jed York or somebody up in that organization, an executive, needs to sit them down and talk like, you guys are great at this, this, and this. But our biggest problem is our offensive line. So we like demand, like, you have to invest in this offensive line because you're your own worst enemy with this philosophy that you can get by with a hodgepodge of players on this offensive line.
I mean, they've actually proven that they can get by with a hodgepodge of weapons. Like, they have Jake Tunges.
Correct.
They found him out of nowhere. They have Kendrick Bourne. He was on the scrap heap. I mean, they've done it at running back with guys like Raheem Mostert. I mean, what the benefit of investing in the offensive line is when you could get a good one, that's a guy who can play for you for 10 to 15 years at a pretty consistent level, as opposed to weapons like Brandon Ayuk was top 5 wide receiver in the league for a minute. Now we have no idea what he's going to be when he gets back. Or like Ricky Pearsall can be great one week and then non-existent the next week because his game is all built on speed, as opposed to offensive linemen who can play with like clubs on their hands. So I
Correct.
just think it is a fatal flaw of Kyle Shanahan's. And when people say the only reason he hasn't won a Super Bowl is because of injuries, I would disagree. I think it's this basic premise that he builds his teams upon, and it's going to ultimately be a big reason he comes up short every time he comes up short.
I mean, weapons is probably the easiest thing to find.
Yes.
Like, it's easier than finding corners. It's easier than, I mean, Niners seem to find linebackers, but it's really hard. Most teams will tell you good linebackers are really hard to find. The hardest position to find is offensive line. It's the hardest position to find, offensive line. So what does that mean? Do you ignore it, or does that mean you have to double and you have to double your investment in order to sort through those guys and find those guys? That has to be your priority. You have to be obsessed with building an absolute brick wall in front of your quarterback and in front of Christian McCaffrey. And they look at it the opposite way. It is 100% to me the biggest problem with Kyle Shanahan. And they have to, like, he's his own worst enemy in this way. And they need to step in and make sure this changes.
It was crazy that they spent so many draft picks on defensive linemen. They have throughout the years since Kyle Shanahan's been here, and they've whiffed on most of them except for Nick Bosa. I mean, Solomon Thomas, Contavious Street, Javon Kinlaw, Drake Jackson, on and on and on. What if they had spent those picks on offensive linemen instead? Where would they be right now? If they just had the opposite philosophy, we're going to throw a bunch of draft picks at this one position because it's so important and it's so hard to find guys and you can't trade for a midseason, and signing them. I mean, they're like $20 million if they can like stay healthy and play 17 games. Like, we've got to just draft this. Where would they be right now? I think they'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point that you made. Like, you can't you need them on rookie deals too, because you can't pay 5 offensive linemen on second contracts, good ones. So you need to be drafting them. You need them on rookie deals because they're expensive, and they're expensive because they're so hard to find. It's just mind-boggling to me.
And what's crazy too is the Niners have the opposite philosophy. Like, D-line is the most important thing. D-line over everything. That is the easiest position to find at the trade deadline. Like, do you need a future Hall of Fame defensive end? You could get one for like a 2nd-round pick if you can afford him. I mean, Trey Hendrickson available. Max Crosby, you might be able to convince the Raiders. Like, there's any number of edge rushers you can find because it's just there's an abundance of those players of those athletes in the world. Can't find a guard though. Can't find a center. Good luck.
A lot of players, there's been a transition. I heard a college coach, I forget which one, was talking about it, where all the really good athletes want to play defense, like on the line, right? If you're a O-line, D lineman in high school, like they all want to play defense. They'd rather go after the quarterback than protect them. So they're very hard to find, and that's why you have to invest so heavily in the draft.
That's why you shouldn't be investing so heavily in defensive line and weapons, because all the best athletes in high school want to play those positions because that's where the money is. So that's where all the depth is. Wide receiver, running back, D line. The ones where it's hard to find are like secondary, because
Yeah,
most of those guys want to play wide receiver. So how
exactly.
many like actual premium athletes choose to play corner? Like, you're a psycho to do that.
Yeah,
All the rules are against you. It's a really hard position. They don't even show you on TV. You get no glory. Like, those are the guys I want to draft, the legit lockdown corners. Like, those guys are super rare. The guys who actually want to play offensive tackle instead of defensive tackle. Like, Eric Armstead's a great example. He was considered the number one offensive tackle in high school coming out, but he wanted to play D line because that's where the money is. He would have been so much better as an offensive lineman, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Yeah.
You're 100% accurate, man. That corner spot is the second hardest position in football after quarterback to me. So finding your quarterback, finding your corner, and your offensive line, those are the hardest positions to find to me. You can find receivers and running backs anywhere. I mean, look at Kendrick Bourne was able to step in and do 142 yards back to back in games out of nowhere, right? It's
Cowboys needed a wide receiver. They traded for George Pickens. Any team that needs a wide receiver right now could probably go get AJ Brown. I mean,
right,
it's not hard. It's really
right.
not. Debo Samuel was lying around. Washington got him. It's not hard to get wide receivers. There's a bajillion of them, but God
Running backs
forbid you
too.
want a guard.
Running
Yeah.
backs too. And I'm
Yeah.
not so sure that Jordan James isn't amazing because I haven't seen him yet. He might be amazing. He might be better than Christian McCaffrey right now. He really
Yeah.
might.
How can the Niners even know? I mean, they've never seen him even in a preseason game. I feel like you could look at him in practice and maybe judge him in meetings to see how on his assignments he is, but you have no idea how hard he's going to hit the hole. He might hit it freaking really hard. He might be explode. They have no idea if he could break tackles and make guys miss. No one does. It's too bad.
Yeah, and that's why why I wanted to keep
What
Jordan
could they
Mason last
possibly
year.
lose, Ryan? What? They go from 32nd in the league to 32nd in the league in yards per. Like, what could they possibly lose?
That's a good point. Yeah,
Bill Kennedy says, why doesn't the NFL require MetLife replace turf? That's a slippery slope. A lot of these places use turf. Who's to say MetLife's is any worse than Seattle's?
yeah. I don't know why they don't. I know it costs like $1 million per year to upkeep it, but that seems like pocket change to these owners if it would mean keeping them healthy. They recently did like release the NFL released some like results. So we did a study and there's no difference, but then there's player surveys. They found that there is a difference. If your players want to play on turf or natural grass, then just give it to them. Like what? It's $1 million a year or whatever it is to upkeep it. It's stupid. They need to
I
go that
think it's
way.
absolutely disgusting that
Yeah.
these teams build billion-dollar stadiums with turf. Like, I can't express how much I can't stand SoFi Stadium. It's the worst. It's I'm nothing against Inglewood, but it's not even about that it's in Inglewood. It's just next to LAX. It's not where anyone would really want to be. It's huge. It has a roof in LA. It's open air, but it has a roof and it has turf. 2 thumbs down. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah. Seattle needs to put in grass as well. Generic name says the soft coverage on defense was infuriating. I don't ever remember being this angry at the team after a loss. It wasn't mistakes or injuries. They didn't even attempt to defend a single pass. The secondary were spectators. I would have to agree with all of that. Thank you for the $20. I just don't understand that game plan from Robert Saleh. It's like, which receiver are you scared of? Why are you doing this? Who they gave up the one deep pass to Jalen Noel. That was it.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. I mean, if you watch the game prior, a Monday night game, um, and if you look at the numbers, Stroud is horrible under pressure, but
Yep.
really good when he's not. And
Yep.
somehow Robert Saleh saw that, like, yeah, let's give him what he's best at. Like, I don't, didn't make sense to me. Especially you're lacking you don't have Nick Bosa, you don't have a pass rush, you don't have Huff. Like, what are we doing?
You know what that game plan reeked of the Niners underestimating their opponent. to me. It's like Stroud, he's not that good. All we got to do is force him to sort of like move the ball slowly down the field, 10 to 15 play drives. He can't do that all day. He might be able to do one or two of those. He did it all day. He did it all day. He looked like Joe Burrow. Like, I guess we learned that CJ Stroud is hella good if you just dare him to be better than Michael Penix. They treat him like he was Michael Penix.
Yeah, they did.
Crazy.
They really did.
They really did.
Yeah.
The Niners apparently haven't beaten an AFC team since like week 4 last year. So maybe they just are unprepared against these guys. Bill Kennedy says, should the Niners draft the best available offensive tackle? Or offensive tackle? Usually good to draft the best available guy. The Niners draft for need a lot, but they also need an offensive tackle. So I don't know.
Most of the time I would say available, but typically in the first round, that's going to be an offensive tackle. Anyways, most of the time.
Yeah. To me, if you want to draft for need, like that's a great time to trade down. If the Niners had traded down 10 spots and taken Michael Williams, great, beautiful. But you took him out 11. You can't draft for we need a run defender. Yeah, right now. But then by week 8, guess what you need? A pass rusher. You know what I mean? What you needed was the best player available. And you also need, everything. Bill Kennedy says, we got you. John Cesari says, Grant, yesterday was perfect reason why you never trade Nick Bosa. I need you to focus. They are 5-3 and they are forced to make a trade. Johnny,
who was saying Johnny's a good guy? Johnny, who was saying to trade Nick Bosa last year? 2 first rounders. This guy, I was. And what would have happened? They'd be better off because Nick Bosa isn't even playing anymore. So.
Yep. S. Dot says, talk about it, Ryan. This leadership is flawed. Time for overhaul. Been done with Kyle. Define successful football, no O-line, and mediocre quarterback play. What? Yeah, I think that's sort of the crux of the issue, or the discussion with Kyle, the argument. Some people are like, he's good. He's better than a lot of coaches, and if he got fired, he'd get hired somewhere else. And I think other people say, yeah, he is good, but there's a clear cap to what he's able to accomplish for a lot of reasons.
To me,
what he gets in his own way.
That's what I'm saying. They need to. Jed York needs to look at Kyle and say, man, he's really good at these things. Mm-hmm. He's really not good at these things. And they need to force the issue on the things he's not good at and maybe bring someone in or talk to John. Somebody has to step in and take care of the things that Kyle's not good at and let him do what he does good.
The overall roster, what we've been talking about today is this overall roster construction philosophy and drafting ability. Like the conscious decision to not value the offensive line is a problem, and their batting average drafting in the first 3 rounds is a freaking problem. Period.
Yeah,
they got to fix that. Greenlaw was the best drafted player since 20. LOL says S. Dot. He's 2019. That was their best draft class. Bryant Culp says Grant and Ryan, Batman and Robin, legendary team. Thanks, Brian.
Right on, Brian.
Spider Rico says, get Jackson Powers Johnson from Vegas to play center and trade a third for Thibodeau or Jalen Phillips. Going to need him in 26 too.
What's funny is I was screaming draft Jackson Powers Johnson when he was available. I forget who they took instead, but he was available when the 49ers had a chance to get him. They didn't.
Shreddy Murphy says, wow, Ryan G, double damage last show plus calling for a rebuild. End of an era. S. Dot says, been ready, trade Kyle, overhaul, retool, replenish. Crazy Rod 16 says, I think Bucks would be a good fit for CMC 2 and 4.
Or you know what you do? Just make Christian McCaffrey a slot receiver and get a running back in here.
Or they could trade him to the Giants. They need a running back.
Oh, that sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Josh says, hey, guys, I'm the same guy who told you about Garendo and Lynch. Overheard CMC say he might switch to receiver someday since they make more money and that it's hard to trust a coach who's never done it.
Hey, I just said that, Josh, and I didn't even read that. So we're thinking, whoever said that thinks the same way I am.
Hard to trust a coach who's never done what?
And it's hard to trust a coach who's never done it. Switched over? I don't know.
Played in the NFL or won a Super Bowl?
Who has done that?
Hey, guys, I'm the same guy who told you about Garendo and Lynch. This is the guy who just happens to overhear stuff. Overheard CMC say he might switch to wide receiver someday since they make more money and that it's hard to trust a coach who's never done it.
What's someday, though? Like, CMC's 30. Like, what are you doing for the next 20 years?
Yeah, he should switch there like today, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Crazy. Thank you, Josh. Crazy Rod 16 says I would like an O-line help and pick. Laughlin Poker Ben says we need year one Harbaugh draft, double up front, double down up front. That was actually before Harbaugh. That was 2010.
Well, he did it with the
Party
Chargers
and Anthony
too.
Davis.
Yeah,
that's true. He did.
Yeah.
S. Dot says you guys hit my points on this episode. 100% agreed. All topics. Peace, Ryan. One love, G.
Appreciate
Official
it.
being a music 88 says, are we sure the defense's GP wasn't Kyle's? That's a good point. He's a head coach. Stefan says CMC has low trade value, older running back with a big contract. No point to trade him for like a fourth.
I'm trading everybody.
Idea.
My last show, I'm trading everybody. Brock, everybody. They're all gone.
Everybody. Guess what? All day, every day, Kim says, can they trade Brock? One day.
Nobody would trade him.
Maybe not today. John says, get Carl Granderson and Arden Key. Are they better pass rushers than Michael Williams? That's something. All right. Let's do some prize picks. The last prize picks of Ryan's career.
I'm going to come back. We'll do episodes. I just can't do it regularly. I'll be back. I'm sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we got tonight, Kansas City, Washington. Let's go straight to Debo. Are you playing 42.5 for Debo? What do you think?
Is Daniels back? Jane Daniels?
Why is this not in the screen?
Is Jane Daniels playing?
No.
I'll
get this on the screen. He's not.
I think Debo goes off on a Monday night.
Yoda's a good player.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Primetime Debo with a backup quarterback leaning on him. Short little dump offs. Let him get the yak.
Debo.
Yeah.
I had that. All right, here, let's go. More for Debo. What about Terry McLaurin? I hate you so much. I drafted you in the 4th round this year, and you've been hurt all year. I hate you. Terry, 44.5. Do you think he will do that for me?
Who's the quarterback? Who's the backup over there?
Mariota.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, no. Rashee Rice, 67.5.
Rashee Rice, 67. What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Okay.
42. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think so. Let's go pass yards. Mahomes, 276.
That's close. I'm saying no.
No. Mariota, 195.
No.
Oh, 63 against Dallas. That's good.
What's crazy is the Niners lost to him. Was it last year?
Yeah. 2022. He was the NFL Offensive Player of the Week. I think he may not have missed it. He was great. He was so good in that game. All right, those are our picks. The final picks. We're flexing it just to flex, and we're submitting it. Download the app yourself. Use promo code. Hold on, let me get that super chat off the thing so you can see. Play $5, get 50 instantly in lineups when you use promo code COHN at Prize Picks. All right, Ryan. This has been terrific era, and we'll still do this again. But I just want to thank you very much for doing this so consistently with me. And I've always been like, low on ideas or like hitting you up 30 minutes before, and you're always super flexible, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's been my pleasure, brother. And we'll keep doing more. We'll be back.
At the buzzers, Danny D says we invested the entire draft for the D line, yet we are still in need. Maybe it's time to grab O lineman. Why can't Chase Lucas start over Stout?
He should be. That's another thing I don't understand. He should have been the whole season, probably.
All right. Well, check out Ryan on X. He'll be around. I'll be around. Thanks for watching, everyone.